Tonight, the major milestone in the fight against COVID. Half of Americans now fully vaccinated. New vaccinations rising, and new word that booster shots could be authorized for at-risk Americans within weeks. It comes as the Delta variant surges. Florida hitting a new daily record with nearly 23,000 cases. New super spreader fears as the Sturgis motorcycle rally returns. 700,000 expected to attend. Plus, what NBC News has learned about an alarming spike at nursing homes, and major news impacting millions with student loans. New trouble for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, his former aide filing a criminal complaint after that scathing sexual harassment report. How the governor is responding. The Dixie Fire, now the third largest in California's history after destroying a whole town. And we're on the ground in Greece. Thousands fleeing massive fires there. The sixth day of chaos for Spirit Airlines. Hundreds more flights canceled. Spirit's CEO on when things will improve.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, reporting tonight from Tokyo.
Hello, everyone, on our final night from Tokyo as the Summer Games draw to a close later this weekend. We'll have full details from here ahead. But back home, we're witnessing tonight what officials stress is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, but one that's impacting all of us. Just as experts have been predicting, the COVID outlook is continuing to worsen. As we come on the air, over 125,000 new cases to report, 566 new deaths, and more medical centers calling for help. Even as summer events bring together massive crowds in communities already hard hit. Florida recording nearly 23,000 cases today, the highest single-day count since the pandemic began. While there has been some progress in the number of new vaccinations, little has slowed the current surge, and shot requirements are being imposed in more and more places. Our Miguel Almaguer has details.
So just a quick pinch, okay?
Hitting the new benchmark today, 50% of all Americans, half our country, is now fully vaccinated. The shot of encouraging news coming as the FDA looks to speed up its timeline, perhaps authorizing the use of boosters for the immunocompromised within weeks. The urgency fueled by the Delta variant.
If you're not vaccinated, you will get COVID at some point in time, and the only question will be how sick you will become.
With a new report revealing many of the unvaccinated are not wearing masks or keeping social distance. This weekend, the Sturgis motorcycle rally will bring together an estimated 700,000. With no restrictions in place, the super spreader event last year comes as our nation battles the most contagious variant of the virus.
We're back to square one. That's why I'm frustrated.
With hospitals overwhelmed, COVID surge response teams are now on the ground in 16 states. Urgency growing to protect children who aren't old enough to be vaccinated. The former Surgeon General tweeting, "Heard a rumor that FDA may authorize vaccines for under 12 much sooner than expected, but there's been no official change in the end of the year timeline. While it's been well documented, children rarely die of COVID. Delta means more will get sick, and the long-term effects remain unknown."
We need to make sure, again, we are protecting our children. They need to be wearing masks indoors. We need to make sure that people around them are vaccinated.
With a deepening divide over mask mandates in the classroom, New Jersey now joins the states requiring them in schools. More states, private businesses, even an airline are requiring mass vaccinations for employees. It took the loss of her son, Kurt, for Christy Carpenter to get vaccinated.
It's just it's not fair to lose a young person, especially at the age of 28, who was completely healthy except for COVID when he went into the hospital.
And Miguel, there's new troubling reporting tonight on COVID and nursing homes. What do we know?
Well, Lester, NBC News has learned nursing home infections are up nearly 40% nationwide. Experts are concerned unvaccinated staff members are fueling the cases. The White House is now discussing the possibility of mandating vaccines for nursing home staff. Lester?
All right, Miguel, thank you. In New York, one of Governor Cuomo's accusers filed a criminal complaint against him as pressure builds for him to resign. Late today, his lawyer spoke out. Our Gabe Gutierrez is in Albany.
Tonight, Governor Andrew Cuomo's attorneys are blasting the New York Attorney General's report that accused him of sexually harassing 11 women.
This was one-sided, and he was ambushed.
They're calling on the AG to release transcripts of the investigation. The pushback comes as this staffer, known as Executive Assistant Number 1, seen here posing for a selfie with Governor Cuomo, filed a new criminal complaint with the Albany County Sheriff. She had told the AG's investigators that Cuomo reached under her blouse and groped her in November of last year.
This woman's story, which is stated as fact in the report, is false.
Late today, the AG's office said it would make redacted transcripts available to state lawmakers, adding to attack this investigation. An attempt to undermine and politicize this process takes away from the bravery displayed by these women. 70% of New Yorkers now think Cuomo should resign. 55% say he should be charged with a crime. Cuomo himself has not spoken publicly since this pre-recorded statement on Tuesday.
That never happened.
Where he denied all wrongdoing. But he has yet to directly address the allegations that he sexually harassed a state trooper assigned to his security detail.
I can't give you a timeline, but I know he wants to do it soon.
Here in Albany, the Assembly's Judiciary Committee plans to meet on Monday to discuss the next steps for impeachment. Lester.
In just 60 seconds, we're inside the intense wildfire battles on 2 continents and getting ready to prove you've been vaccinated. Tonight, we're on the front lines of desperate battles against wildfires. We begin with Steve Patterson in California.
Tonight, the Dixie Fire's March of Flames, swallowing more than 400,000 acres, becoming the nation's largest active wildfire and 3rd largest in California history. The small town of Greenville transformed into a field of ruin and heartbreak.
We watched it swirling and burning trees, getting closer.
Rhonda Reams and her partner made it out just in time.
We're just grateful to be alive. We got each other and the boaty boy.
The fire threatening some 13,000 structures.
But I'm kind of holding out. If I start seeing spots in town, I'll leave.
So far this year, California wildfires have charred more than 808,000 acres, more than tripling what burned by this time last year.
We are at historic levels for how dry the fuels are. We are at 100% chance of it starting wildfire.
A climate in peril, priming the already fire-weary West for more pain. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
Tonight, wildfires raging across Greece and Turkey, forcing thousands to flee their homes. Flames surrounding the town of Krioneri, Greece, just outside of Athens. It's one of 100 fires across the country in the last 24 hours.
We are surrounded.
At least one person has died, but even with planes and helicopters circling to drop water, firefighters can't keep up. The men in this village defied evacuation orders to stay and fight the blaze themselves.
We've been up at this fire for about half an hour. It's at the top of a village hill, and finally, choppers are coming, firefighters are coming. Up until now, it's been all volunteers.
Greece topped out at 117 degrees this weekend. Across southern Europe, the worst heat wave in 30 years. In Turkey, walls of flames scorching more than 250,000 acres. At least 8 people have died. And raging near the site of ancient Olympia, where the Greek prime minister challenging anyone who doubts climate change is real to come here and see it. Molly Hunter, NBC News, Krioneri, Greece.
Back home, we're hearing from the CEO of Spirit Airlines after hundreds of flights were canceled for a 6th day. Tom Costello joins us. Tom, there is a lot of frustration building here.
Yeah, Lester, Spirit has now canceled some 2,000 flights this week, bumping roughly 300,000 passengers. It all began on Sunday with weather delays. Add to that staffing shortages, computer problems, and the volume of passengers. Now we're headed into another summer weekend with more families hoping their vacation plans won't be ruined. Spirit's CEO says he hopes the company will regain its footing over the coming days.
We expect to continue to improve here throughout the course of the weekend, such that by the time we hit the earlier middle part of next week, we're running back to where we want to be.
Spirit says it's trying to buy seats on other airlines for its passengers, but all airlines are flying full right now. Lester?
Tom Costello tonight. Thank you. Also new this evening, the Biden administration is extending the freeze on student loan payments until January 31st. The Department of Education says this will be the final extension. With vaccine mandates growing, businesses and customers are confused about showing proof of vaccination. Here's Stephanie Rule.
Restaurant owner Edward Gomez has just 10 days left before New York City's mandatory vaccine rule starts for bars, indoor dining, gyms, and theaters. And while safety is key, he admits enforcing the new rules could be a challenge.
I'm in the restaurant business. I'm not in the business of checking one more thing. I guess I'm not sure exactly how to go about it.
While New York is the first city to require proof, it's on the minds of business owners elsewhere, too.
There's not currently a vaccine mandate here. Do you want there to be?
I think for the safety of the public, we would be well served to have some guideline and some rules around that.
Lisa Gangadine's visiting Philly from Florida, carrying her vaccination card just in case she's asked for proof.
Do you worry that you might lose it?
No, because I have a copy.
It's a smart move since there's no national standard, but there are options. You can use an app. Some states like California and New York created their own. If your shot's from CVS or Walmart, you can share vaccine status from their app or use one from a third party like the one from Clear. You can also take a picture of your CDC card and store it on your phone.
And if you're worried about privacy, make a copy of your card and carry that with you. And everyone should make sure their doctor has a record of their vaccination status. Lester?
All right, Stephanie, thanks. There has been nothing quite so ambitious than hosting the world in the middle of a pandemic, but Tokyo has managed even when the view was not what many expected.
Tokyo, we hardly knew you. COVID quarantines made most of the city a bridge too far for many Olympic participants and foreign media, required to work and live in a protective bubble. The city was ready to welcome the world. Shuttered souvenir stores and empty fan plazas speak to its best intentions and to the reality of the pandemic.
During my stay, I've been required to have a special app on my phone that monitors some of my movements and my health. Today I look at it and it reminds me I've hit day 14. My quarantine is over.
Now free to explore, I ventured into the heart of Tokyo, cruising elevated expressways that wind between densely packed office buildings, revealing a modern city of tony residential neighborhoods, fashionable young people, and lively crossroads.
With fewer visitors, Tokyo retains a vibrancy, despite the fact the city is under a state of emergency. Just beyond its bustling shopping districts and gleaming office towers, Tokyo reveals its ancient soul.
Its most famous temples and shrines frame so much of Japan's tradition and culture.
Having covered 10 Olympics, the one thing that strikes me as I walk around and travel around is how few reminders there are that the Olympics are in town. There's a few T-shirts here and knickknacks, but what you don't see, things I've seen in previous cities of banners hanging from light poles, nothing that declares this is the site of the Olympics.
Of course, the Games drew some public resistance here, in part because of COVID. Isolating foreigners was a public health measure, the one that maybe left parts of this city isolated too. In the end, Tokyo did open its doors to the world, just wide enough to let the athletes and the competition shine in ways that it could not.
That's Nightly News for this Friday. I'll see you back from the States on Monday. I'm Lester Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night and so long from Tokyo. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.